Hello, and welcome back for another episode of me looking at car manufacturers' logos. My name is Tom Graves Cooper, your humble logo expert. This series has us looking at 18 different car manufacturers from around the world, 6 from the Americas, 6 from Europe, and 6 from Asia. We started a couple of weeks back with Chevy, then we had Jeep, and today we are looking at Cadillac. So without further ado, let's dive on in. This is the Cadillac logo as it stands today, which in my opinion looks a little bit messy, as there's just lots of lines all over the place essentially. As always, let's look at the history. And this history goes back a fair old way, back to the turn of the century, where we've got the introduction of the heraldry, which I think is something to do with French royalty possibly, but I could be wrong, so don't hold me to that. And this heraldry holds out. We have a minor change just around the start of the First World War. And I actually really like that typography, that calligraphy that's used for Cadillac there in 1914. I think that looks beautiful. It looks, for myself, it looks very similar to a chocolate company called Cadbury's, one of their very early logos. And then back to the heraldry, from there all the way through to the 30s, and the heraldry still continues, but seems to get caught up in traffic of wings or additional chevron shapes, and then it starts to get peeled back to purely the crest, the heraldry component there in the 50s, where it seems to just extremely wide suddenly for the 60s, and we're seeing changes quite frequently here in their history. And you can see how the actual crest itself, we can see it here in the 50s, where you've got several components to it. It's kind of getting pared back and it gets altered and edited generation on generation until mid-noughties. We've got this situation going on, and then from that to this, where they've peeled back the colours in essence, but in doing that you've lost the relevance and the actual meaning of each of those areas, in my opinion. And obviously they've peeled back this script typeface, and I have seen a typeface they are using with their new logo, but I don't seem to have it here. As always, a quick doodle in Procreate, and I appreciate where I'm creating these logos and I'm trying to get it started and finished within a few hours. These doodles in Procreate probably don't mean a great deal to you guys watching, but they really help with my process and understanding how shapes and forms are coming together. So these random little squiggles here and here are representing ducks, which are actually in the logo from early on, and even those are meant to be ducks. And we've got this laurel wreath wrapped around the bottom, which again, it kind of came and went several times in their history. So as I brought it into Illustrator, I was looking predominantly at a nice typeface. I found this, which I thought had a nice balance of looking classy, and then I was looking at formulating this crest shape essentially, and I went through all manner of iterations of this, trying to work out a healthy balance between simplicity but still encapsulating a level of detail and depth that the original had, which was a tricky maneuver, but I went through a good handful of concepts, and I eventually landed here. This is the compromise that I balanced at essentially. As always, boys and girls, let me know your thoughts. Let me drag these two across to where the other logo is, and you can see it in comparison. Here we go. You can see it in comparison to the existing logo. Yeah, I think it's a fair chunk easier to interpret than what they currently have. I'm all ears to hear your thoughts. Please let me know in the comments below. And I'll catch you next week when we're looking at Ford, which will be a nice one because I get to do some custom writing, which I always enjoy. Alright boys and girls, have a creative week and I'll catch you then. Take care. Bye.